Hi everyone, just making a quick video on the English 101 final portfolio. As you know, we're reaching the end of the quarter and this will be the final project for my class. You will revise each of your major assignments one final time so that you can bring up the best work that you possibly can write in my class in this final portfolio. So let's go over this here real quick. So goals, all my English 101 courses, as well as all my courses, honestly, at OC are portfolio based. The portfolio is the primary means of evaluating student work in my courses because it honors both the processes and products of writing. And in this class, it'll comprise a large percentage of your final grade. Your portfolio consists of a significantly revised research paper, rhetorical argument, and rhetorical analysis. Additionally, your final portfolio requires a cover page, cover letter, at least 2 pages long, table of contents, and page numbers at the bottom right-hand corner. So, specific final portfolio requirements for English 101. Part of revising your papers is also making them longer and adding additional sources. So for the research paper, I want you to have at least 6 pages long and 4 sources, 2 of which are peer-reviewed articles. Now, if it's longer than 6 pages, totally fine. If you have more than 4 sources, absolutely okay. Just make sure you have this minimum requirement. Rhetorical argument has to be 4 pages long and include an additional scholarly source. You might have noticed that in the original draft, you never had a scholarly source, a peer-reviewed article that you got from the library. But I do want you to include one because I want to test you on your ability to include these scholarly articles that are very advanced but highly credible and include them in older papers. It's part of the test, you could say, to make sure you're ready to move on to other courses when they ask you to find these kind of sources. But anyways, they'll have a total of 4 sources. Again, it can be longer than 4 pages, could have a lot more than 4 sources, but that's the minimum requirement. Rhetorical analysis, 3 pages long, and also include a additional scholarly source for a total of 3 sources. It can be longer than three, have more than 3 sources, but that's the minimum requirement. Note, a big part of the final portfolio is making sure you highlight all the changes you made from the revised draft to your final drafts. Yes, I want you to make sure that you show me that you've made changes, and this could be any kind of changes. So say you added a comma to your final draft where it needed to be, or you fixed citation, or you just added a huge chunk or like a page to your paper. Great. Highlight that change. I want to be able to quickly see these changes in your final drafts because that'll help me go through your papers. I have a lot to grade, and so I need to see your changes that you made from one draft to the next. And was the easiest way. Use whatever color you like. It doesn't matter to me. Just be consistent, but please make sure to highlight this. I'll show you some examples here either in this video or another video in case this video goes too long. Portfolio requirements. This Canvas will require a portfolio to be submitted to Canvas before midnight on a Sunday on whatever given due date. Don't use the due dates on this video. They're going to change, of course. So use the due date that is on your Canvas assignment page. That'll be a solid due date to go over. But it'll always usually be on a Sunday before midnight. The mini portfolio must include the following: a cover page, a table of contents, a cover letter, which must be at least 2 pages long. Don't worry about this stuff just now. I'm going to cover this, like I said, later on. Make sure it also has a research paper, final draft, revised, and rough. Yes, I want all of your copies of each paper, each draft, I should say. Rhetorical argument, the letter, final, revised, rough, and the rhetorical analysis, final, revised, rough. Basically all 3 drafts that you wrote in my class. The first draft that you brought in for peer review, the revised draft that you turned in to me as a mini portfolio, and then the final draft, of course, that you're writing for the final portfolio. So you'll have 9 total papers. But you're not writing anything new. Again, you're not making a new thing. You are just revising one final time each of your major assignments, of which you should have already written all 3 by now. Make sure to have page numbers in the bottom right-hand corner on every page except for the cover page. This might change. It might be bottom hand, or it could be top right, depending on if it's APA or MLA. Those specific things will go through each particular class. Some of you I'm doing MLA. Some of you are doing APA. So if it's MLA, by all means, bottom right-hand corner. APA, let me add that here. APA should be top. Right. Oops. So MLA, APA Okay, just keep that in mind. MLA, do bottom right-hand corner. APA always wants, specifically, should be top right-hand corner. Highlighting changes to your revised drafts, like I mentioned here up here before. Please make sure to highlight your changes that you make and do this now as you're revising your drafts one final time. That way you don't have to go back and figure out what you changed. And unlike the rest of my class, correct grammar and punctuation in the cover letter and final drafts of each final portfolio are a must. They are going to be something that will score. And so if I see a lot of grammar issues, I am going to take away points to your final portfolio. Unlike other assignments, this final portfolio will be graded under certain criteria. Correct order and material is outlined in this paper. As I show you here, this is the correct order in which you need to have your documents. Show correct grammar, punctuation, and spelling. Show correct MLA citation or APA citation. Let me add that here. Ah, there we go. Show correct MLA or APA citation. Again, it's going to depend on your class. Some of you are MLA, some are APA. Just go with whatever we've been working on throughout the class. Show significant revisions in each of your final drafts. This is going to be an important point. This is one of the reasons why I give you so much feedback throughout the quarter. I want you to address that feedback and then revise based on that feedback. And then you should be able to highlight those changes, right? And I should be able to see them quickly. Show your ability to summarize, analyze, and respond in writing to your text. So it should be able to show me that you're able to bring in sources, be able to explain those sources, not just have them there, quote something, but not actually use them in your writing. This is going to be especially important for your research paper. Show that you can make an argument, not just a report. Should be pretty simple. We've been working on this throughout the whole quarter, so there's no reason any of your papers should just be reports. Lastly, show your ability to use rhetoric to persuade your argument. To persuade your audience. We've been using rhetoric this whole time. Again, I don't see this being an issue at all as well. An important part of the final portfolio is showing me how you improved and grown from each assignment. So a part in your cover letter should go over how you met the course outcomes. Depending on if you are going for, I'm sorry, let me delete this. We don't need this right now. Just go to that. But what I do want to highlight though is how to reach your course outcomes. One of the big parts of your cover letter, and again, I'll show you an example of what a cover letter is going to go over, is you explain to me how you met the course outcomes in each of your papers. So you might not necessarily meet every single outcome in each paper, but you should be able to meet most in one and then some in the other. So for instance, let's go to our syllabus here. And let's just scroll down real quick to our outcomes for this class. Of course, these are English 101 outcomes. Let me zoom in real quick. Okay, so here we have English 101 outcomes. First one is analyze a variety of texts using critical thinking and rhetorical knowledge. Our audience purpose of genre. Two is compose a response that demonstrates critical reading, the comprehension, engagement, connection of ideas of source materials. Three is compose essays using rhetorical choices, a thesis, a purpose, audience, genre, etc., to communicate an argument. Four is use conventional and emerging standards of grammar and punctuation to improve communication using a handbook or other resources when necessary. Five is identifying information needs as well as location credibility of sources. Six is demonstrate a recursive writing process individually and collectively, planning, peer review, reflection, etc. And seven is using sources effectively when summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting when appropriate academic citation style, either in AP or MLA. So for instance, let's say I wanted to explain how I used outcome 7 in my paper. So I would explain that I used APA citation and I learned throughout the whole, peer review process through revision that this is how I used APA citation correctly, specifically in honestly all three of my assignments. If you look at page this, page that, and that would be a good way to show me, oh, this is how I effectively summarized the source and then cited it correctly in APA. Great. Maybe you want to highlight outcome number 5. And then so you explain that, oh, in my research paper, I brought in a journal article. And through this journal article, you can see in this page that, hey, I set up this journal article explain why it's credible, and then use it in a way to provide evidence to support the point I'm making here. And that's what I want to see with these outcomes. How did you use these outcomes in each of your final drafts of your paper? And that's going to be very important because that's what I'm going to look at as I'm going through each of your final portfolios. So that is an important part. Of course, please ask me for help, either through email, my office hours. We can meet it through Zoom, of course, but you should never feel like you can't seek my help. We should have plenty of time to work on your final portfolios, especially in the last 2 weeks of the quarter. Most of the times we do this, we should have 2 weeks. Sometimes we have three, especially if it's in the fall, but we will have time, of course, to work on this in class. We're going organizing your final portfolio. Make sure to put your final draft first, then each subsequent draft after that. For example, make sure you have a research paper third draft, which is your final draft first, then your revised draft, then your rough draft. It should always go in this order for all of your assignments. There's going to be an example in the final portfolio. There'll also be a template, which I'll provide, and I'll show this, I think, in another video, because this one's going to be too long if I do that. Both are going to be in week 8 folder. Actually, I lied. They might be in week 8. It'll be in whatever week I tell you. Don't go by this. There will be in modules, but I'm not sure which week. Sometimes they move it to week 7, 8, sometimes week 9, usually one of those weeks. But they'll be available to you guys is what's important. Correct citations are going to be a must. Make sure that you correctly cite an APA or MLA, depending, of course, on what we've been working on. Um, it is important that I know that you know how to cite as we've been working through this throughout the whole quarter. So if any of your citations in your final drafts, of course, your final drafts are incorrect, you will lose an automatic 25 points. Having said that, you can meet with me and we can go over your citations and see if they're correct. All right, no big deal. I'm just making sure that you know how to cite correctly, and it's going to be because it's very important to be able to do this throughout your college career. If you submit your portfolio late, you will automatically lose 100 points, which is 50%. So do not submit your late portfolio. There's no reason for it. Do not wait till 11:59 to submit your portfolio, and then it doesn't really submit it until like 12:01, and then Canvas counts as late. Please do not do that. You have plenty of time to submit this on time, so please make sure to submit it before Sunday, whatever given date it's due, and before midnight. Lastly, you will not receive comments for the final portfolio, only a grade. If you do wish to know why you received a certain grade, please come see me during my office hours or email me and we can meet through Zoom and we will go over why you received a certain grade. I do grade the final portfolio holistically, meaning as a whole, and give a score based off that of everything I see. And the main criteria, if you want to know what I use or my the not the template, I want to say, but the rubric. The rubric I use to grade your final portfolios are these right here. These important under the important notes. This is what I look at. Is it a correct order of materials? Does it show good grammar, punctuation, spelling? Does it show correct MLA or APA citation? Does there no significant revision? Do you are able to summarize, analyze, and respond in writing and text, especially in a research paper? Do you make an argument, not just a report? And do you use rhetoric to persuade your audience? This is what I'm looking for. If for some reason some parts are missing or weak or whatever, that's why you would lose points. But yeah, that is the final portfolio in a nutshell. I will go over in a different video what some examples, or not examples, but what I'm going to, what you can use to help you create this document. And of course, if you have any questions or you need help with anything, please reach out through email, which would probably be the best way so that I can help you in any way that you might need. All right, thanks class, and I'll see you in another video.